start with Hilary. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and then if you will read the quote.
Okay. Hi, I'm Hilary Stern, and I am a parent of 4 children and a wife and all of that. And I am also an ADHD life coach and consultant here in Dallas. And over the past year, have gone way beyond Dallas and am now working virtually. Completely virtually, and have clients all over. I work with individuals who have an ADHD diagnosis or ADHD symptoms, and I generally work with high school and older through adults. And I also have groups. I have parent groups and I have corporate group. Currently have some corporate groups as well. And I do presentations on ADHD and how the brain works and how we can become more self-aware and become more productive with our lives. Personal development is a major time saver. The better you become, the less time it takes you to achieve your goals. By Brian Tracy.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right. I'm Jill Levy, and I am a mom of 2 teenage/pre-teenage girls. And I also am a nurse. My volume's getting a little weird. I'm a registered nurse. I currently work part-time as a nurse case manager in the hospital and have a lot of background in critical care nursing and transplant nursing. And that's my number one passion, is working in the hospital. I love it. But sometimes that can just become emotionally cumbersome and draining. I've always had a side passion for fashion, no rhyme intended there. And I stumbled upon an opportunity to get involved in a new company called Savvy Lifestyle Co. And they do athleisure wear, fitness apparel, and so that is my new side gig, and I'm trying to see how far this can take me. And it's completely different than the healthcare world I am used to. It's kind of fun. So that's what I'm trying to develop right now.
Perfect.
The only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be, by Ralph Waldo Emerson, which I really think that is spot on.
There are no accidents.
Okay, I'm Julie Shrell, and I am a wife and a mother of 3 and a mother-in-law to 1, and someday another 2, I guess. And I'm an ovarian cancer survivor of 10 and a half years. And so my passion is helping women fighting ovarian cancer and trying to find a cure and trying to find better treatment options. And through that, I started a foundation called Be the Difference Foundation with 3 other survivors, of which we've lost 1. But in the 9 years that we've been doing our events called Wheel to Survive, which is indoor cycling. This year might be outdoors, who knows. We've raised over $2.5 million and have donated it to help women fighting ovarian cancer. And in order to feed my passion, I have to work. So I'm a loan officer, and I've been doing that for 20 years and worked all the way through my illness. And, I think my true passion is just helping people in whatever way I can. I connect, or I can give them options or whatever. And I think it just all kind of pulls together. One year before I got sick, someone said, what's your purpose? And I'm like, to be a mom. Well, I think everybody wants to do that, but my purpose is really to help and make a difference in the world. And so I feel like I'm doing that. Some days better than others, but always, especially through my family, through my passions, I think I'm doing that. So Becoming is Never Giving Up on the Idea That There's More Growing to Be Done, by Michelle Obama. Boy, is that true.
Hi, my name is Nicole Clark, and I am a multi-passionate who was just made to create and encourage. I have several pillars of ministry. I have a women's ministry nonprofit. We just support women walking through infertility and pregnancy loss. I also share health and happiness with Plexus, just really helping with gut health and hormone balance. And then recently, I just started a digital marketing and VA business called Called and Encouraged. And so I'm also a wife and a mom to one, and again, just love to create, love to encourage. And here's my quote. People don't grow by accident. They grow by design. Design yourself. Design your future. Success never just happens. Anonymous.
Anonymous.
Somebody said it.
Yeah, someone said it really well. Hi, everyone. I'm Rani Alfers, and let me adjust my headphones here so they don't fall backwards. So it's so nice to be here, Carrie. Thank you. I am a mother of one. I have a 9-year-old son, and I own an insurance agency in the Dallas area. And I love leading my team and helping others around me, and however that is, if it's connecting them or if it's helping them with their passion, or really spending time with them. I value time, I value experiences, and I love to travel, and I'm a very curious person. And so this group intrigues me. I think most women and most people do intrigue me, and I'm always curious to learn more. And so this particular quote, "The best investment you can make is in yourself," by Warren Buffett, definitely speaks to me. I admire Warren. I very much admire Warren. But I think investing in ourselves is something that we should all do. I'm a big advocate of that. I do it all the time in leadership classes and passion classes. And I believe in this quote. It's a good one.
Okay, well, I'm Carrie. I'm pretty emotional right now because as I look around this room, it's literally filled with some of the best people that I know on the planet. And I thank you so much for being a part of our journey and really my true passion. I've been very lucky in having a very exceptional real estate career. I'm an entrepreneur in real estate. I do lots of different things within this space. But what I'm really invested in is relationships, and which has led me in every capacity of what I do. And more importantly, I see people, and I see them clearly. And so this gives me the opportunity to be able to pull people that I see, and hopefully that you guys see, that need to be a part of what we're doing here, and shine a light on you, and give you the opportunity to be seen the way that I see you. Not that you need my help, but it certainly fills me up to be able to provide that. And so we're here to serve. We're clearly in a beta test. Okay, and we don't know exactly how this will go, but we are hoping that these Passion Dallas roundtables, we don't know the name, whatever we call them, maybe you guys will help figure that out, are sort of what we call our She Hands Wall, which is our first outlet out there into the community to really bring people together. And of course, because we are also a multimedia company, be able to have visibility with that. So we're bringing in a couple of things, and it makes it kind of this weird, like, anomaly idea, but I think it works, and I hope it does. What I ask is, please, when we send you a survey next week, and I know you're all so busy, but if you will take the time to give us feedback, because that's really what we want. We want to know, right or wrong, what we're doing, and be honest. Like, we can take it, like, give us the essence of what we need to grow and tell us what we can do better. We certainly know this is just the beginning, and so if you'll do that, that would be so awesome. My quote says, "Growth is the great separator between those who succeed and those who do not. When I see a person beginning to separate themselves from the pack, it's almost always due to personal growth." So our topic today, if you hadn't figured it out, is personal growth and development. And we really chose based on who was going to be there, on what we believed was a topic that was made for that group. And I really, like, as I look around, I see powerful women who are constantly looking to grow and empower themselves, which I know takes guts and it's not easy. And so thank you for honoring us in this topic. I'm going to start, and this is conversational. So, don't necessarily look for me to be able to add in. I just talk, and communicate and let it be open. And that's what we're here to do. So, okay. But I will start here with Julie, because we need to start with somebody.
Okay.
And I know each of you has given a lot, you've given a lot of yourselves in your career, right? So, you started out as givers, you're still givers, but you've decided along the way that your personal journey had to be a part of it, and in order to give, you had to grow. How did you know it was time to focus on you, Julie?
When you get a diagnosis of cancer, your whole world changes in a split second. I had a choice. I could just say, oh, poor pitiful me. Life sucks. I'm screwed. I'm going to die.
Sorry.
But airplanes go by.
It's airplane
Life
day.
happens. Shit happens. And when it happens, you have to figure out how you're going to deal with it. And I never gave it much of a thought that it wasn't going to be a positive outcome. There were those moments where I would talk to someone and they would tell me their horrible experience, and I would say, I can't talk to these people anymore. I can't, because I could only look at the future. I had a lot of things going on in my life outside of this diagnosis that couldn't allow me to not be here. So I guess without really realizing it, I just said, I'm going to have to figure out a way to get through this. I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to be better for it. I have one friend who says I'm way better now than I ever was before I got sick. She may be right. I don't know. I don't remember myself before. It's been 10 years, thankfully. Actually, just about 10 years since my last chemo, next week. And so much has changed in my life since this happened. And the craziest thing is that the year before it happened, my dad passed away. And I know that he died before so that he didn't have to, he didn't have to see me like that. It was hard enough for my mom, but being his only daughter, and now knowing that I've got the BRCA gene that came through him would have been devastating to him. So, just little things just change you and make you grow. And the more you grow, the more comfortable you are with growth, and you figure you can do things more for yourself. And I guess that opened the door for me to just say, you know what, screw it, I'm going to do what I want. And if you want to come with me, great. And if you don't, get out of my way, in a nice way, but sometimes not so nice way. At the end of the day, you have one life, and it's your choice how you live it. And I try to impart that on my family, on my kids especially. And it's hard. It's not easy. And I watched them grow. Just yesterday, and I'll stop talking, but just yesterday, one of my daughters is a speech pathologist, and she's been working in a school, and she's just trying to figure out, does she want to stay in the schools? Does she not? And we happened upon some teachers and faculty from the school that she went to, which was a private school for kids with learning differences. And yesterday she came and looked at me and she goes, I think I want to work there. And we've talked about it so many times. And she's like, no, for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. But she's like, I've been thinking about it and I can't get past it. I want to do it. And so she applied. And I hope this is after that whole thing goes. But the thing is that she's seeing the need for growth, mm-hmm. and realizing that she can do whatever she wants. And that's what I want for all my kids, and that's what I want for my clients, and that's what I want for women with ovarian cancer who call me and say, I just got this diagnosis, what do I do? Let's find something. Let's keep working at it, and make a difference.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you had a health issue that occurred, and then just in a split second, everything changed. It's like a life event or a health diagnosis or whatever that is that just sparks it. I think you've made such a directional change that it's no looking back. Is there
No looking back.
looking
I don't want it again, and I'll do whatever I can to keep that. But it also propels me to do things. You know, I still have my fears and my anxieties and all that kind of stuff. They don't go away, but I also see something I want to do it. I just go do it.
I'm going to call you from now on and say, hey.
Please.
I mean,
But I need somebody sometimes to propel me too, because you know those anxieties and fears that I've always had don't go away. But I also I've learned to breathe. You know, that's a big thing, just to breathe and to stop and think and go past it, and that's huge growth for me, because I would say I can't do that. You know.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have to envision what's past it before you can
Absolutely.
really take those small steps and continue to move forward. When you say that, it's you can see it, but you're not sure how to get there yet. Yeah.
Well, you know, that's my next question too, is, you know, they say that growth is a mindset, you know, that you either have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. Rani, since we're talking to you, how do you work on that? Like, how do you get, and you have to train people, which I'm sure brings in the mindset, as I know it does with you.
It does. It's an interesting question, because I do believe that in general people have the two mindsets. I believe I meet someone, I interview them, and they're either wanting to grow or they're wanting to just blame everyone else and stay in a certain position and stay in a certain frame of mind that I can't change. I believe that I may not. Someone may be able to change it, but I'm not the one. I enjoy working with people who do have a vision. They may not know what it is yet, but they understand that they have some capacity to go somewhere else in life. And so I believe that I do think people that have a static mindset can still change. I really do. I actually believe people can change. But, you know, when you're working on a growth mindset, it's fueling it. It's constant fuel. It's like Carrie says, it's the people around you. It is choosing to, if you're in a bad moment in life, if something's going on in your life that doesn't feel good, it's to choose something that does feel good. Read a book, call a friend, put yourself around something. And I think it's that internal drive that says, it's time to call somebody, or it's time to get out of my PJs, put the wine down, get out of your PJs and go for a walk, or, you know, do something. So I believe it's constant, Carrie.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you just said that, because I had a conversation with a client recently who, you know, finds herself more at home. She's working, she's in grad school and working on a dissertation, and she finds herself more at home, but she, you know, it's a change from what she's used to. And so we talked about that. Like, you know, when you work from home, you can just like pretend like you have clothes on and not even have, you know, still be in your pajamas. And even if you have a Zoom, you're here and up. And so it's important that you are intentional about it and you make that conscious effort to get up and get dressed and transition your day. And I've dealt a lot with that over the past year with myself and my family and my clients because of COVID, and because of a lot of the people that I deal with have ADHD, and we have a hard time separating out our day, planning out our day, and figuring out what it looks like. So making that effort, making that awareness, and what you said also struck a chord with. They might not know what they want, but they know that there's something there. Someone recently told me that we were talking about core values, and the core value was ambition. And he's like, I don't know that I've ever really felt that feeling of like true passion that has guided me to do something, but I know that that's something that's important to me and that I want to feel it. And that's the first step.
That's awesome. Yeah,
it was a really cool conversation. Yeah.
You know, I'm thinking before COVID, getting dressed for work, right? It was the days that I didn't feel like doing something, or I had my mind was blocked, or I wasn't feeling 1,000% that morning was the morning that I probably looked the best. I selected the best because I will just, find my favorite dress.
Fake it till you make it.
Perfume, just pull yourself together and, get moving. I think so with COVID, it's like, do you find your best yoga pants and you find your best, sweatshirt at home? It's different, but that was a mechanism for me. And I've noticed I've continued to use it through this time.
It's funny. I have been working from home. I haven't been back in my office except for like 2 days since March 16th last year. And I made a conscious decision that I was going to get up and get dressed and put makeup on every day so that I felt like I was going to work. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I have. And I wear my slippers because my feet get cold. But other than that, I'm totally dressed. I'm showered and everything because of that. And also, if I don't present myself as a professional in my job, then I'm not being professional. Right. And so I just decided that I was not going to let COVID affect my being in that respect. I mean, I love being in my yoga pants, don't get me wrong, but I just decided it's important for me to not let anything be missed. And I had my best year in my business ever. Yeah. And it's a huge thing. Like even with the foundation, like we know we couldn't get together and have our rides, so we did them outside in tents, and we've done them. You just find a way to adapt, and you adapt in a positive manner instead of a negative, because it's easy to go the other way. So much easier to go the other way.
I have to say, I have a 9-year-old, and he's remote learning right now. He's in DISD, and so he's been doing this for over a year now. And last week, I noticed that he was wearing his pajama top on his Zoom for class that morning. It was a piece of pizza on the shirt, and I on his break, I pulled him out and I said, "Hey, didn't you sleep in that last night?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "They can only see my head. They can't see what's below. What does it matter?" And I said, "When did you give up? When did you give up dressing and, putting on your school something or at least a clean shirt?" Right. And he's like, "Well, I just realized it didn't matter, Mom. Didn't really matter." Right. And I wasn't sure how to answer that or how to deal with that. But I thought finally it's hitting the kids as well. Yeah. Right? I mean,
well, part of when I got involved in this savvy business, I started looking for ways to grow it, network it. I've never done anything like this before. So there's kind of two parts to what I'm saying. First of all, my mindset and not being of a growth mindset. But putting that aside for a second, when I started talking to people and trying to learn about the business and learn about how to network, everybody kept telling me, you need to have a brand identity. Like, you need to brand yourself as something. And I feel like I kind of got into this backwards. Like, typically people have a brand, what they're known for, fashion or business consulting, and I kind of stepped in with nothing, no focus, and I'm trying to build this business and network off a basis of nothing. And then I started looking at my why. Why am I doing this? What message do I want to get across to people? And I started posting myself on Facebook and posting short little video clips. And I found that I'm kind of finding my niche in encouraging women to get dressed regardless of where you're going. Mm-hmm. You can wear the yoga pants and the comfy clothes, but you can put it together and look like you're styled, so that even if you're going to the grocery store, I mean, most of us haven't been going anywhere except maybe to school to pick up our kids if you're lucky to have a kid in school. So maybe you're seeing other carpool moms, maybe not. But you never know when you're going to run into somebody, and it's always going to be when you're dressed in your pajamas without fail. So I'm trying to focus on getting other women to dress, put on lipstick. My mom, since I have been a little girl, said, I don't care where you're going, always put lipstick on. You don't have to have any other makeup on. Always wear your lipstick. So you can make yourself look put together and still be in your comfortable clothes at home.
Absolutely. And Jill, it sounds like you have a growth mindset. You're trying to learn how to do this.
So this is, I have always been a kind of, I describe myself as introverted, although most people who know me decently well would probably not think that of me. But I've always been one to sit back and watch everybody else kind of skyrocket in their careers. You know, my nursing career, it's different. I'm giving to others, but I've never really had the goal to, you know, let it take off to the next level. And I accidentally found this savvy. I was not looking for a venture to get into, and since I've gotten into this, I've found this completely new spark within me. I guess I just never gave myself credit that I was capable. I mean, it's probably like somebody who has had a diagnosis of some sort. They say you don't know the strength you have until you have to find it. Yeah. But I'm now finding that I am capable of networking, of putting myself out there on Facebook. It is scary, but the more I do it and the more feedback I get, I'm like, what was I afraid of all this time? And now it's like opened up a whole new world of opportunities for me.
What's that saying? You have nothing to fear but fear itself.
Exactly.
It's so easy to say, I'm afraid, I can't do it, and just talk yourself out of it because it's more comfortable. But I applaud you, and I watch your videos. I think it's awesome that you do it because I don't like doing those videos. Like they're trying, you know, my marketing people are trying to get me to do it. I'm like, I don't want to. I get it. I see it, but it's just so outside of my comfort zone. But I think that there's always room for growth, and that's one of those things that I just like. I think about it all the time. One of these days, I'm gonna grow. You know, whatever you need to grow to do that.
Yeah. Right. And that. Oh, sorry. That was my number one goal when I decided to do this was, if I make nothing off of this, if this business goes nowhere, I want to step out of my comfort zone and force myself and prove that I can. And it's kind of been building upon that.
And that's the only way to grow. That's the only way to grow is by stepping out of that comfort zone. And I think that we, as parents, a lot of those of us who are parents, we have to show our kids that it's not always comfortable and it's not always easy, and we need to step out of it. I've had, you know, a lot of conversations around this too, because you have an assumption about yourself. I am not good at this. I am stupid in math. You know, I'll never be good in math. Well, wait. Once we peel away at the layers, you're still, you know, doing okay in math. You're doing fine. Well, I'm not the best. Okay, well, best, does that equal good? You know, like, so you have to have these kinds of conversations. I think that we always want to be the best. We need to focus on being the best version of ourselves, but we live in a society where we think, I mean, me included, and we're trying to compare to other people and be the best in whatever group it is, that race to nowhere.
Everything.
Yeah.
And be good at everything.
I want to be good at everything. And because
everybody on Facebook is good at everything.
Perfect.
And you know, I think as Jill said, that, you know, you were thinking I wasn't of a growth mindset because I wasn't up here.
Right.
And I think sometimes it's not always about the success we're currently having, it's about the success within. Yes. So if we're personally developing, and you have been with your nursing career and all the things that you've done, that is growth.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, it's not Warren Buffett yet. I mean, but that's not what we're again comparing to.
Right.
It's still change.
Right. Right. Change is growth.
Yes. Have you guys read the book Who Moved My Cheese?
Yes.
Yeah.
That book changed my life.
And my husband says that too. Change his life. Yeah.
Why?
Just
I'm curious about it.
Also, I come from a dance background, so I was a background dancer for Justin Timberlake, and so really,
No way.
it was so much fun. So much fun.
I just watched a video yesterday that was so cute. Did you? It's on. I can't remember. It's from Trolls. The song from Trolls.
Oh, the
my
Trolls.
God.
Yes.
It was So cute. So I could see you doing that. I could see you on there right now.
And so I just remember, things really kind of just were almost handed to me. And so when I got out of the dance industry, I knew that I had a large call on my life. And I just was expecting everything else to just be handed to me. And I remember one thing didn't work out. And my wonderful husband, he just was like, okay, you've got to get over this. Like, I need you to get out of the fetal position and put a little effort into it and work. And he gave me that book, and I was just like, oh wait, I can do it. I can't do this. Yeah. And I've got to maybe just do something else, maybe turn to the left or to the right to go after my dream or go after what I was looking for. So.
And there's a teen version too.
Really?
I didn't know that.
Move My Cheese for Teens. Yes, we have that as well.
Okay.
Very good one.
I'll have to reread it. It's been years.
Me too.
It's been years.
Yeah, I have to reread it too. But I know that my son, my teenager, read the teen one. Yeah.
That's so interesting. Because speaking of stepping out of comfort zones, you've taken it to another level now, right? So you've definitely, something clicked in you. That's why I was so interested to see what was it for you, because now you're really pushing yourself out there, and I feel like trying to show everybody authentically who you are on so many levels. Like, what have you had to add into your life to be able to actually do that?
I love that. And Jill, I can relate to everything that you've been talking about. But I think it's almost that, not that I had to add something, but I had to remove me. I had to take me out of it. I think John Maxwell says you have to get over yourself to reach people, and so I just was like, it's bigger than me. It's just, I just have to remove me and say, okay, what if what I'm saying, or what if what I'm posting, or whatever is going to help that next person, whether it's reminding them that they have hope if they're walking through infertility or pregnancy loss, or they don't feel well and they need a supplement that's going to give them energy and help with their hormone balance, or just they're stuck in their business and they just need something, they need a little bit of help. And so what if my one post or my one reach out is going to remind someone that, hey, someone's out there, someone has your back, we're happy to help. And so I had to remove me, which is so hard, because I know that we can all be kind of self-centered at times. We think of ourselves.
Yeah, not even knowing it all the time.
Right.
Right. Like, we don't think of that as selfish, that we don't want to post things out there. We think of it as, sometimes we think of it as selfish for doing that, but it's true. Like, when you remove yourself and it becomes about serving others.
Yes.
And I always think, like, what if Oprah had decided, nah, I'm not gonna, what if they don't like me? What if, and she had never been Oprah? How many of our lives would not
the same?
She changed everything for so many people. So
Absolutely. A quote of hers came up recently with Oprah, and she said, if I would have known a long time ago that I would have made this much money from just being me and who I am, I would have done it years sooner.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was about authenticity and how she's really she's so authentic, and she's built such an empire through that. And simply by being her and sharing her story every time she had a topic, and her struggle every time she had a topic, and just whatever was going on in her world, she was okay to share because it could help others.
Yeah.
I think it's so fascinating that so many of our passions and our direction in business come from our personal stories. And I don't think I realized that until I went through what I went through to get where I am. And I was an educator and a teacher, and I loved it. And like Jill, being passionate about nursing, that is my passion, my calling is to be teaching. And so when our lives changed at home and ADHD came into our world, actually came back into my world, because I have it. I just had denied it since I was a teenager, because I didn't really think it mattered to still be, I didn't really understand it the way I do now. But it changed. That's what changed my life. When my story changed, so yes, I take myself out of it, I do, but well, it wasn't really me, I guess. It was a member of my family, so I guess it wasn't about me.
But you have empathy. You understand it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm like, wait, I'm feeling very selfish.
But it affects one member of your family, affects your whole family unit.
No question about it.
Exactly. And it did, and for the better. I remember our doctor, the pediatrician said to me, Hilary, I know right now this is so hard, but I'm telling you, mark my words, that in 2 years you're going to look back and say that this changed your family for the better.
Wow.
And here I am, 3 years later, and I can say that it definitely has. Yeah.
Amazing.
It's a tough thing to deal with in your family, and you've helped my family, so I can say that. And you would be very proud to know that the person in my family that you helped was so expressive and is doing so amazingly well in school right now that it's hard to believe it's the same person.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry.
I really need to tell you more at another time, but
Yeah.
but honestly, because the hardest thing for my child was to get outside of,
Yes.
this is me,
Yeah.
this is I
Right,
can't,
that
I
closed
can't.
mindset. It's a perfect example.
Yeah.
It's a perfect example. That story is a perfect example of
I can't.
but what can you do?
But you can't. But you
I kept
can.
just throwing that out
Yeah,
there. But what can you?
But you can, and I was telling somebody this morning that one of my kids went through the whole public school thing, just like we moved into the neighborhood for. The next one did a couple of years of that, didn't work, went to private school, and then the youngest. Oh, he went to 5 different schools. Because we were trying to find what worked best for him, because it was so challenging. And through that, I'm watching him reconnect with people from all these different places in his life, and slowly seeing a change that is dramatic but slow to get there. And so growth and persistence and getting outside of yourself and all those things that we're talking about right now, I'm just like, oh my gosh, we did something right here.
Yeah.
And so you were very instrumental in that, in a very difficult time.
Wow,
So
Julie.
if you know anybody who needs her, Hilary's the best.
Thank
She
you.
really is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's like it comes down to the comparison model. I think in everything that we're saying, and also we're not always like so nice to each other. Like the good people and the good ones are, and then there's this criticism that can come also. Even with social media, it's like, what are you comparing yourself to influencers? Like, is that really what you're trying to achieve? Like, I think sometimes it's about weeding out certain people in your lives that are not maybe saying, that are not the best influence for the growth mindset. Maybe there's a fixed mindset there as well, and that's what you're comparing yourself to. I'm curious, like, who's had to change their relationships in order to grow? Like, and how have any of your relationships changed? I feel like sometimes you just kind of have to like move the cheese on somebody. I'm gonna move you out of my cheese.
Yeah, I've had to. I mean, I think from female friends that I've met from moving into Dallas that just weren't a good fit. They were, they just weren't a good fit for who I am and who I have become over time.
Yeah.
I think there have been childhood friends and acquaintances that I've known that I've just decided that, I respect you and appreciate you, but you're not a good fit. The negativity, the way they choose to live their life, those things just didn't impact me very well. And personal, dating.
Yeah.
Dating relationships, with people that aren't exactly healthy or positive or I think all of us have had people in our lives in any realm. It could be a coworker or it could be a neighbor, and you make a choice and decide, do I want that next to me? Do I want to
Right.
listen to this person for the next 15 minutes, or do I want to listen to them for the rest of my life? And you make choices each day. And so it could be small ones, not necessarily a lifelong relationship, but it could be a neighbor or someone your desk is next to, someone you
Right.
go to Pilates with. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Also, I've found that not so much in relationships having to give up, but creating new relationships just through networking with people, but also learning not to compare
Yeah.
myself to what others are doing, whether it's the influencers I see on Facebook or peers of mine that are doing certain things, but focusing on my growth and what is changing for me, and not trying to keep up with what somebody else is doing.
That's important. And so, and it's also about not judging them either. I don't judge
No.
them. It's whatever they are and they're doing is fine.
Right.
It's just making that choice. It's not for me.
You know what I think is really important as we're talking about this, and I'm thinking about just all sorts of things. COVID has changed a lot of how we interact and how who we talk to and what we do. And the incredible thing is that people have gotten new jobs during this and had, interviews only on Zoom, and, recreate or started a new job and still haven't met the people they work with. And one thing that I think is so important, and I'm proud to know to do that, but how we were talking about influence, not being an influencer, but influencing someone to go outside their comfort zone,
Right.
to provide them a contact that they make and see how their life changes from that contact. I got to see that this year, and it's so exciting to watch, to think that you might have just sparked a little something. They took it, they did it, it's their thing, but without that little crack of the door being open, they would have never gone that direction. And to be able to provide that even when you can't see people,
Right.
Yep.
is amazing, because that's what we're doing. I mean, even now I've connected with, I didn't know you before, Nicole, but I've been in contact with everybody else in this room and not really realized it over the last year. Like just saying great job or congratulations or just something
Right.
changes the way you think about yourself and think about what you can do, and provides growth and all these opportunities. And I'm just thinking about that now, like, wow, what an amazing year we've had, even as bad as things
Crazy
have
as it
been.
was.
How many out of the bad, how many good things come out of it? It's amazing. It's all about attitude and desire and growth and connection. So
And Julie, I love that you say, I don't even remember who I was. When you made that statement earlier, that to me is, it's like all of us. Do we remember who we were 10, 15, 20 years ago? Such different people. And I think that's a great measurement of growth.
Absolutely.
Especially if you don't remember. That's even better.
yeah, it's pretty amazing, because when you go through cancer and you get your diagnosis and you have a plan and you are doing this and you follow the plan. Well, when you finish, they go, okay, bye. Now what? It's like, what do I do with this? Where do I go now? Who do I? When are you going to tell me what my next treatment is, or do I have another treatment, or what do I do? So that's a hard place to be. It's like, oh, you got to reinvent yourself, because you really do, because that whole time was planned for you. So then you're like left in the open, like, okay, I'm vulnerable. What do I do now? And you can find ways to do it if you want to.
Well, and it sounds like you had such a community around you during that time. And so when you get to the finish line, you created your own community after that with your foundation.
Yes, with the foundation. And we also do something that's called Survivors Teaching Students. And we speak through a different program, not ours, but because there are survivors in our group, we are all involved in it. But we basically sit and talk to medical students and interns and residents and stuff, and tell them our stories so they know what to hear, what to listen for. And there is not one story that is even similar to the next. So when you start listening to all these women who've gone through all different kinds of ovarian cancer and treatments and all those things, you start thinking about, wow, I could do this, and wow, hers was like this, and I got to this. But we're also being able to tell these doctors so that they listen, so that the next person that gets this diagnosis has a better outcome than the last.
And that creates empathy.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. That's a really cool program. I love hearing
I think it should be survivors teaching doctors, because the people who are already practicing need to hear us too.
They do.
So
They definitely.
I can create my own. But
You should, because I think that's important.
it really is. I mean, I can't tell you how many people go to one doctor with the symptoms and they're sent to all these other doctors before they ever get to the right one.
Wow.
And so,
Well, I think it's, very different, but similar in my world.
absolutely.
I was talking to an adult the other day who said, how come so many doctors I've talked to said there's no possible way I could have ADHD because I graduated from college, or because I have a doctorate, and there are people out there who say that, and it is a very it's ignorance, it's uneducated, they're not educated in this realm, and there are great psychiatrists out there who are well versed in this, and
who aren't.
And there are a lot who aren't, because of the amount of research that happens from the time those people have gotten, they're been to school, learned, and then these other people. And yes, there's continuing ed. However, we know, when I became a teacher 23 years ago, we still were just starting to realize that ADHD can go into adulthood. Okay, so now, fast forward all these years, there are plenty of adults, plenty of senior citizens who are getting a diagnosis because they've had the structured life, they've worked, and now they're retired and they don't know what to do with their lives. And they're, and then they get this diagnosis, and it can help them with productivity and with moving forward. So I think that you gave me kind of an idea. People with ADHD going and telling their stories. I think that is so important as well.
Yeah, for sure. One of the conversations that we had was about all the different doctors that we tried to get help from who didn't help, and who's, over time made growing up so much harder.
Yeah.
And through the ADHD world. And unfortunately, they throw medication at you, or they throw, things at you that they may be for you, but they're maybe not. And the thing that I think I've learned about just being a person is that what works for me may not work for you, may not work for somebody else. And it's not that that's not a right treatment or whatever it may be. It just doesn't work for you. And to figure out what does is so time consuming and so stressful and so emotion consuming that sometimes people just quit and give up. And that's
right.
So that's,
and I think in both in both worlds, and everything we do, but that's the tricky part. And then the throwing the medication, but then not telling them what to do alongside it.
Right.
Pills don't, teach skills. And I think with the same thing with, I've heard it from somewhere.
that.
I don't think I made it up.
I like
In fact, I know I didn't. Someone else said it to me once. But with the chemo and going through that, and you deal with it, and you're told, you know what to do then, but you don't know what to do after. Like you don't, necessarily.
and what are the side effects? Like what is going to happen to me over time, or in whatever we do. I'm not just talking about in everything. What are the side effects to doing a loan to my payment? How's it going to affect me? How am I going to deal with whatever it is that's changing in my life?
Consequences as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for your choices.
And that's really hard. And when someone tells you what to do, it's one thing, and you can do it. But if it doesn't work, how do you go back to them and say, that didn't work for me? I need something else. I need help. Most people will go, it doesn't work, so I'm done. I'm out the door. And then I just deal with being in pain. We don't have to be in pain. I think that's...
Well, it like almost sounds like, advocating for yourself, which again is growth related, which is
Not everybody knows how to do it.
Right. No, it's a practice.
It's a practice,
I'm sure.
right?
Definitely.
Yeah. You have to. You see it from the other side.
Yes. Oh, I could talk all day about advocating. But we'll save that for another time.
We'll do a whole podcast just on advocating for yourself.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, it sounds really amazing on paper, and I think each of us has had like time to grow into ourselves, and we're practicing. But I know, because I feel it every day and I see that everybody does it, there's fear and there's dips associated with putting yourself out there, right? Like there's moments where you're like, why did I do that? Or nobody understands me. Or how do you deal with those dips and the fear that comes alongside?
Oh, so much fear. I know sometimes I have to take a break.
Yeah.
I know taking a break and taking a step back is needed. And sometimes often, and it's okay, I think, to rest, but just not give up. And again, Jill, I think you said this is being reminded of your why. Why are you doing this? Why are you trying to have the influence? And I always talk to my husband about influence for impact. So nothing about us, but for impact. But I think, resting is a big thing for me, is just taking a step back and just saying, okay, what's my reminder?
Right.
It's not about me. Okay, I can rest, but not quit.
I love that influence for impact. I'm writing it down right now.
It's so good. Yeah, it is so good. Jill, I'm curious.
There, I've had dips. I'll post one thing and I get a ton of feedback and it makes me feel good. Like, oh, I reached a bunch of people and I don't look so stupid. And then I'll post something else and nobody responds or nobody comments. And then I'm like, my kids are like, Mom, you're so embarrassing. But I agree. I literally come back to, why am I doing this? Not going to appeal to everybody. Maybe it's timing. Maybe they're sick of seeing it. Maybe they're just not interested in that one post. Or maybe it's just everybody's busy. And it's okay. Just keep pushing forward. I can't. If I'm going to let the little things bring me down, then I'm never going to get anywhere.
Right. Well, you can't let the algorithm control the message that you have.
Exactly. That's 100% it. It's all about learning how to beat the algorithm. But, one of the best quotes, or I don't remember the quote exactly, but the words that I've learned is, the only person getting in your way of success is you.
Yes.
And so if I'm going to give up after a couple little dips or not so great posts, then why am I doing this?
Somebody said, get out of your way.
I gotta just get out of my way. And it goes back to what Nicole was saying. I mean, when you said something, that you have to take yourself out of it, that's what I think about, is I have to take myself out of it so I get out of my way. Because otherwise I'm standing there thinking, people are gonna think I'm stupid, or I don't want to annoy people, or I don't want to be that girl. But if I put myself aside and then just move forward, so that's what I'm trying to.
Yeah, it's sometimes when you put yourself aside as well, you're also looking at the people on the other side. Right. And I think the people on the other side can be the people that are, you have a message for, or you're responsible for, or, depend on you in whatever capacity that is. And I think sometimes knowing that can keep you and pull you from a dip. You can rise from it, because you know that there are other people who count on you.
Yeah.
And when someone counts on you, it's not taken lightly. So it's helpful.
I learned something recently too, which opened me up, because I'm not a big poster, and I'm sure we'll get back into doing it again. But my theory has always been, who cares about? They don't care about that, Carrie. They don't care about that. But I heard recently that you've got to keep in your mind that not everybody are your people.
Right.
And I was like, wait a second here.
Right.
Yeah. Not everybody is your people. That sort of takes some of the pressure off, because I think that sometimes we think that who we know is all that's important, right? And who do most of us know? Who we grew up with, who our siblings are, maybe where we went to high school, which, by the way, I have a lot of love for a lot of people. I was very fortunate. I went to a great high school with great people, right? But that doesn't mean that they're all going to have interest in being a part of Passion Dallas or what I'm doing, right? Certainly coming from the real estate profession, where it's always felt so ego-driven, and I've always been so kind of turned off by it, I think that sort of spun me into thinking, nobody cares, because I feel like I'm so tired, and I love realtors, don't get me wrong, but it's nobody cares about what your volume was last year. I closed $130 million. What does that mean to to your clients. But if we come at it in, I'm a relational practitioner, this is who I am, let me be in your real estate life forever, whatever it is, and that's our message, that's who I am, I don't have to compare myself to the $130 million guy, right? Who, by the way, kudos, that's amazing.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
I have complete respect for it, but it's taken me a really long time. And I think that's back to that comparison thing that you were saying, that, well, this is what everybody else is doing, so I got to do it this way. No.
Right.
They're not all your people, and you have to be authentically you.
Because then you're going to reach the people that really are your people.
Right.
When you're going to attract the people like you.
I think my husband has taught me a lot about that. That's him. That you just described him, because I'm always like, if you were out there on social media and he's not even. He's like never even pulled up Facebook before. He's on LinkedIn, and that's his one thing. But he has he's been in his business for 20 years, and he's like, I got this, and I don't have to. I'm not trying to be that person, and he's always a good reminder, because it's really hard to not compare yourself and to not internalize. And I think I'm the worst critic of myself. I'm constantly judging myself because of exactly what we're talking about, what we see that other people are doing. And so the biggest growth happens when I'm able to take, as we're all saying, take myself out of it.
I think it's understanding your lane sometimes as well.
Right.
Understanding
Stay
where
in
your
your
lane
own
is.
lane.
In your lane.
Isn't that book? It didn't Bruce? What is his? The guy that does the podcast.
Simon Sinek?
No. Never mind. I don't know. But he's the staying in your own lane. There's like a book.
Yeah. It's also sometimes hard to, for Carrie, I wonder for you, learning that, because you're so outgoing and you love everyone, and you have this spirit around you. I mean, you're amazing. And to think then, not everyone may not be interested in what I'm doing. It's really hard, I imagine, just to pull back, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm very similar with an outgoing, and you just think, don't you see this? Aren't you passionate about Dallas? It's hard to even imagine, I think, when you have such a passion about something that someone else isn't. So
that is a hard thing to learn when you are so passionate about something, and you think nobody listens, nobody pays attention, and then you get a text while I've been sitting here, somebody asking me, who do I know that can help someone else? And so what's really interesting is that you may not think that they're in your lane, but they're not in your lane until they need you, need whatever it is that you have.
Watching you drive by.
Yeah. I mean, and so a lot of times we don't know what we need until we see that we need it. And so like you reached out to me and I didn't ever respond, but it's only because I didn't really know how to respond. But not because I wasn't interested. But now that I'm seeing
you misinterpret it. It's so true. Until you told me about what's going, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been I haven't checked in. I haven't Right. So that, I mean, it's the same kind of thing. It's it's our perspective.
It's
too. And the only way.
And you said that it's about perspective. I remember that conversation. It is about how you view it.
Right.
Totally.
It may not be the reality.
It might not be the reality. And it's there's a lot around that. But there was something else I was going to say about what you said. I know I don't remember. Sorry.
It'll come back to you.
Short-term memory.
But people are listening because, like you said, you feel like nobody's giving you any feedback and doesn't seem that anybody's caring. Then I'll run into somebody that I haven't seen in ages, and that's the first thing that they say is, you're involved in such and such. Or I saw that thing on Facebook, and it's like somebody I've never,
they haven't engaged with you yet.
They haven't engaged. You've got the right lingo. They haven't engaged with me yet, but... And back to what Julie's saying, like, until they need whatever it is you're offering or want whatever you're offering, it's just not coming top of mind. But if it's always, it's always in the back. They're listening.
Yeah. Before I started Plexus, I talked about it for probably a year because I was like, this is not in my lane. I was like, again, just being really just kind of self-absorbed and just doing something different. And I had a sweet friend say, hey, you have to remember the people who are in your life, they're going to be in different buckets. And so you're going to have someone that loves 1212 Ministries and they want to support you in 1212, but maybe they're not going to support you in the digital marketing or in the, Plexus supplement business, or you're going to have someone else in a different bucket. And so that really allowed me to, one, just kind of like, okay, I can relax. Like I'm not for everybody, but I am going to be for some people, and that they're going to just be in their different, pillar or different bucket.
Right.
Yeah. We all just want to be liked so badly.
Yeah.
And I think the truth is that we don't have to be. And I think there's maybe a little bit of breathing that comes from that, hey, you know what? Like, not everybody is in every bucket, and you don't probably want them in every bucket. But I also think, social media, as amazing as it is, and I think it is such an opportunity for us, and we all, use it and utilize it differently. It's so difficult to judge yourself on it. And because not everybody is seeing your post every time you post it. There's the algorithm problem. Yeah. But in addition, it's like suddenly somebody like Jill, who's never done this. I mean, I've known her for a long time. Like, this is not something, she never posted at all.
Never. Maybe a couple times a year, pictures of my kids.
Ever. Ever. So for me to watch it, it's so awesome, because I think you've got so much clear authenticity to who you are, and it's refreshing for me to see you that way. But I bet it's difficult because you're suddenly like, hey, I'm a brand. Did you see I'm a brand? And, but we're using this like thing that people are just kind of scrolling through and expecting our brand to be built on this one pillar. That in itself. So I think even also the knowledge that like a brand is built in a lot of different ways. Connection, social media, email. There's like a lot of different things that we have to build, and it takes time.
Social media is just the tool.
That's right.
Right. And I struggle with this because, branding what I do. First of all, there's a lot of privacy involved in what a lot of us do. I mean, I think about what you do. I mean, there's a lot of privacy involved there. So and also I have to respect the privacy of my own family and not to share their stories, though that's a huge part of my story. I can share whatever I want to about myself, but so there's that balance. And so I struggle with this. How do I brand myself when that's not really, my goal is to show people what I do, but it's just it's different, and it's really hard to put my finger on it. And that's something I'm really struggling with and want to become unstuck, I guess, in that area.
Yeah. But don't you think we're multifaceted? So you are that, but you are the other things too. And sometimes you want to put that piece over there. You don't want to talk about it because it's not important today. This is what's important today. And that's with the buckets, like the people who fit the right place, that's where you bring that information to. But sometimes they cross, sometimes they cross in a way that you never thought it was going to happen, right? Yeah. I mean, we connected at something that we knew each other's names, but we didn't know each other, and they're like that. It just made perfect sense to be connected. And I think because we're so multifaceted, we think that we have to be the same everywhere, but we don't. We can be who we need to be where we are, and it's still our authentic self. It's just a part of our authentic self.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hilary, I'm just thinking for you are, to connect with families that have no idea what to do and how to handle and what the next steps are. Your story and just your passion in wanting to help and your experience is seemingly your brand. And that comes across when I see anything from you. And haven't been online as much with social media lately.
I haven't really posted as much anyway.
Well, but you were posting for a while. You were doing videos, and I think you were so friendly and you connect. And that's really, again, back to engaging and the connection with who you will connect with. It's in that moment, in the micro moments, right? What we need to connect in that moment is what you might hear from what you're saying. And a parent going through a struggle I would be happy to open my Facebook and see your kind face.
Thank you.
So,
thank you.
You're welcome.
It's true.
It's tricky.
So as we depart on this awesome conversation, and I'll start with Rani. I'd love to like everybody to answer this one. What advice, tips would you have for somebody, either each other or whoever's watching? I'm letting the plane go by.
There must be an air show
Letting
above
the
us.
plane go by. I mean, this has been like,
I think it's an air
we
show.
thought we had it yesterday because we started off with the blower over there, and I had to go ask them. Today's been like over the top. So thank you for putting up with that.
There's a delivery truck
Yeah.
behind us.
What's going on? Outside podcast.
It's all how we just
outside podcast.
more
Rubber
with
chicken.
COVID.
I love it.
Really, these will be our bloopers. Okay, so just going around the table and letting everybody give advice to each other and maybe to those people that are watching us. What are some tips and advice, and I'm going to start with you, Rani, that you would give on stepping into personal growth and development?
I think stepping in is the first step. Take the first step. Move along a journey, however small it is. If it is a podcast, if it is a book, if it is a conversation with a friend, if it's being open to listening to someone new. And I think it's opening your mind. It's listening, it's learning, it's and applying. And I think if you can follow those few steps, I think if you can be vulnerable within them, that is really where the journey begins. And then along the way, I believe you find the pieces that you know you need the most. I'm currently in a leadership class, and I'm learning some things that are very important, I feel like, in my journey, and hopefully the people around me as well. And I haven't previously taken a long course in this way, but I decided I needed it, and where else would I get it? In real life, of course, but look around and see what you have in front of you and what's missing, and what you haven't learned in a while. Like you said, 20 years ago, school is different. Walking
Right.
into the classroom, they weren't arming your kids with laptops and Google Chrome accounts and teaching remotely. And look at us now. And so take the first steps.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you.
I think for me, just probably the first thing is check your circle. I can't remember who says this, but it's like you're the sum of the five people
around
you.
you.
Yes,
Love
around
that.
you.
Yeah.
So good.
And so
Yeah.
checking your circle, just knowing that you have someone on the right and the left and the front and behind you cheering you on, but also staying in your lane, not comparing yourself to anyone else, but also recognizing your puzzle pieces. I know we all have puzzle pieces. They are purposeful, and knowing that they are just going to help you get to your next step. And not pushing those puzzle pieces out of the way, but just recognizing them, seeing them, and moving forward.
I love. Are the puzzle pieces lessons, or are they steps or stages? Or are they everything?
I think they can be everything, because puzzle pieces can be experiences. They can be lessons for sure. Yeah, but just not, not ignoring them, because I think sometimes we're like, okay, that's in the past. I'm not gonna, go there. But just seeing like, okay, I know that lesson.
But if
I've
it
learned
wasn't
it.
because of that,
Yeah,
you might not be where you are.
100%.
Puzzle piece fits.
Right. That's a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's great. Jules.
I've been doing a lot of puzzles during this pandemic. That's one of the things that I've done for myself. Like, I really enjoy it, and if nobody else wants to do it with me, that's fine. And I'll stay up all night if I want to. So I really connect with the puzzle pieces.
That's so nice.
And knowing what you do, I know some people who have gone through and are going through infertility and things like that. And my daughters are in that age where it's happening to their friends and they don't understand it. So I might want to get some more information from you. I think it's so cool to be able to talk to people and find out new facets of who they are. And I think when I was in college, I took a course, and one of the things I always remember, or maybe it was when I started real estate, I can't remember, but I do remember the quote: "You do and become that which you think about." And so if you want something, you put yourself there, you start thinking about it. It may take a long time to get there, but don't give up on the thought. And the other thing is have confidence in yourself, which is, I think, one of the hardest things when you're trying something new and being vulnerable. But have confidence that you got where you are today, you can get where you want to be tomorrow. Right. So
Love that.
Confidence.
yeah.
Kind of piggybacking on that, it's, Rome wasn't built in a day. And it's when I first started this journey, I was just expecting that it's just going to blow up and be something huge overnight, and it doesn't happen like that. And you have to, first of all, take the first step and have the courage to do it, and just kind of learn as you go, and celebrate the small milestones, and it will slowly start to build momentum and kind of a snowball effect and grow into something larger, but it doesn't happen overnight.
Awesome.
So mine has to do with self-awareness, and I think we've all kind of talked a bit about it. I think self-awareness is key. I think that personally I have grown so much as I've learned more about myself and who I am as a thinker and what kind of brain I have and how it's wired, and I'm always learning. And when I work with other people, I talk about how self-awareness is what's going to get us unstuck from where we are and help propel us forward. So I think that for personal growth, we need to really do some soul searching and understand who we really are.
Getting unstuck. I like that.
That's so good. Yeah.
I thought of something, Jill, when you were talking. My dad used to say that that everything comes from hard work, and when it looks easy, it's because you've worked so hard to get there. Then it becomes easy because you're used to it.
Right.
And I think that's what's so hard for people to, and myself included, to realize, is that you got to put in the work for it to pay off.
That's right.
It doesn't just happen. Like you said, Nicole, things were handed to you and then all of a sudden they weren't. Well, how do you do that? Right? Yeah. That's huge.
That's hard.
So but the work, and you see now it's easy again.
Right.
Yeah. Just to add to that, and what I was thinking about when Jill said that, most of who is successful, right? Like the Warren Buffetts of the world, will tell you that it was the journey that they enjoyed. Why does he still live in the same house? Why does he still drive the same car? Why is he still out there at his age doing what he's doing? Just remembering that when it gets really hard, because it does. And actually, there's a dip probably that you have at least once a day. I mean, sometimes multiple. Yes. So that's something that I'm going to try and at least keep top of mind for myself now, is that, listen, it's this journey, and the hard parts and the puzzle pieces, like what you said, are what we're here to learn, but that's what we look back on later and really get to enjoy, because it's never really about the end result. Then we're dead and it's over. So right.
You're right.
So anyways, I knew this was going to be just the most beautiful group of people. I thank you so much for being a part of our passion project.
Thank you.
We believe in conversation. That's what we're about, and connection on a really, really deep level. I think there's a lot of surface connection, and it's just not enough for us. We need it. We need it deep. We need to go deep. And so I hope that you enjoyed it, because I certainly did.
Absolutely.
It was so wonderful to have you guys.